The price of San Diego homes continues to rise, breaking records in the month of August. Prospective home buyers in the county are looking at a tough market, and here to give us some advice, real estate expert Jim Bottrell. Hi, Jim. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Doing well. So tell me a little bit, because I feel like if you were trying to buy in San Diego right now, I'm sure it feels impossible.
Yeah, it does. It does feel impossible. I mean, I went through this when I bought my first house, and it's all relative. I mean, it's the same conversations that my parents, my grandparents had. I've spoken to them about it. I know that when I bought my very first house, you know, this is 1999. My rent was $825 a month. My mortgage payment was over $2,600.
Right.
So it was more than triple. But from that, I did a lot of really great things. So I'm not an eternal renter. There are a lot of people out there right now that just look at, you know, rent as the exact same, you know, dollar. We write one check for rent, we write one check for mortgage, and they think they're equal. They're not. Mortgage does a lot of really great things. I mean, part of that mortgage payment is the principal reduction. That's still your money. It goes from your checking account into your house. You own it. And then you have the tax benefits. You have the appreciation. Those are all things that don't exist with rent. And oh, by the way, it's fixed forever. I mean, it can only go down. If interest rates go down, it can only go down.
So,
Rent's
but
not
how
fixed.
do people get from renting to buying, especially when there's not a lot of inventory right now?
Yeah, there's not going to be either. Yeah, it's going to be that way for a long time. So there are a lot of programs out there, and I'm not a lender, but I will talk about the programs a little bit. There's buy down programs where we can have the seller buy down the buyer's interest rate. There's no down payment assistance programs. If you're a veteran, you get 0 down loans. I mean, I use VA loans on my houses, and you can use it over again. There's a misnomer that you have to be either retired or something like that. No, you don't. You can be active duty or you can be out, and you don't have to be retired. You can do your couple years and leave, and you get the VA. There's no money down on that. Great interest rates. Qualifying is great. It's actually a lot easier to get qualified for a house. Where people run into a problem is they try and buy something, they think, well, I want to maintain the exact living lifestyle I have right now renting, then I want to get a house that's exactly the same. You know, they'll say they're renting a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. I want to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom house. Yeah, your payment's going to be a lot higher today. But think about rent. When does rent go down? Have you ever had a landlord call you and say, hey, you were a great tenant, so we're gonna renew your lease, but we're gonna drop the rent? Said no landlord ever, right? That doesn't happen. So rent goes up forever without limitation, but mortgage, once you do it, it is a big step. And it's a hard step. It's a really hard, I'm not gonna lie, it is a really hard, daunting step to make that first step, but you're fixed forever.
Now, if you're a seller right now, are you in a good position?
Sellers are in a good position, because there's not a lot of inventory, so there's not a lot of competition. While there's maybe half as many buyers out there today as there was, let's say, 2 years ago, there's maybe only 1/4 as many houses for sale. So if you're under 1.5 million, you're in a very, very good position. We're seeing kind of a breaking point. Once you go over 1.5, that type of person tends not to want to get a mortgage that starts with a high 7 or something like that. So we're seeing a lot of cash. And the problem is now that seller's looking for somebody who wants to live where that house is, somebody who likes that house, and also has 1.5 million cash sitting around. So it gets a lot harder, but we are selling them. But below 1.5, yeah, it's a really solid market for those sellers.
So right now, as what you're seeing, if you're in a buyer, what do you do? Is now the time? Do you wait a little bit? What's the best option?
I don't like waiting. I don't like waiting at all. Yes, interest rates are high. There's a lot of people. I mean, the National Association of Realtors said there's 39% of would-be buyers are sitting on the sideline waiting for housing prices to go down. All right, so here's what happens. And I'm just going to quote Barbara Corcoran. I watched her in an interview the other day. She said, you watch what happens if interest rates go down. We will see a housing price spike just like COVID. We will see housing prices shoot up 20%. Because think about it, there's not going to be more inventory. It's not going to cause more people to sell houses if interest rates go down, but it will cause a massive influx of buyers coming into the market. So now you have even more buyers. So my advice to anybody who's thinking about doing it, just do it today. All right, you're going to get the price you're going to get today, but let's say interest rates go down. Good for you, you win. Because now you can refi your house into that lower payment.
True.
If interest rates go, what I think they're going to do is I think they're more likely to see 9% than we are to see 5%.
Wow.
So if interest rates go up, well then you win again, because you were the genius that got an interest at 7.5 when everything's at 9. I mean, we had a buyer, I remember very vividly a conversation back in May of 22, was doing a first-time home buyer seminar, and I had a person come up to me and kind of just lay into me, because interest rates back then were 4.5.
Sure.
And he could not believe that I was trying to convince people to buy houses at the ridiculous rate of 4.5%. And I could not talk this guy off the ledge, and he is a renter today.
And now look where we're at.
And he could have been at 4.5%. He could have been the genius that got a 4.5%, but he's not, unfortunately for him.
All right. Well, Jim Bottrell, we always appreciate you coming in, of Jim Bottrell Real Estate Team, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right.